and I'll take my time now. First of all, and I'll just make a statement, you don't have to really comment unless you want to, but words are strange things sometimes. They can be used depending on what you want the ultimate goal to be. In the Veterans Administration, and I'm the chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, 3 years ago, Republicans and Democrats joined together to create what was known as the Choice Program in terms of VA health care benefits, to try and expedite veterans getting services and to maximize the use of the VA and the private sector. In the first year of that program, there were 2 million more appointments filled through the VA than had in the previous year, and all those were because the access to the private sector gave the veterans better access. So the veteran had the choice, and you used the private sector and the Veterans Administration to do it. I think that's a good example of where choice made a difference, delivered health care, didn't change the cost, made accessibility better, and made the program work better. So choice is not a bad word. Choice can be a very good word, and the Congress did that 3 years ago in August, and it's been a good program that's worked ever since. So are you familiar with that program?
I'm not familiar with that program, but I do believe, I agree with you that choice is critical. When there's choices, then there's competition, and we've got folks that are trying to attract our beneficiaries to the system. So choice and competition are very important to driving better quality and outcomes and lower cost.
In Georgia, we have 1.9 million Georgians on Medicaid. 1.3 million of those 1.9 million are children. Half of the children born in my state are born with Medicaid benefits. Are you committed as we go through the reforms and the enhancements and the improvements of the program to make sure we keep children foremost in our mind for coverage?
I'm absolutely. As a mother of 2 children, I certainly understand the importance of health care for children. And one of the things that I'm reminded of in my work with the Medicaid program and with the CHIP program, I remember hearing a story about a woman, and it was after the CHIP program had been passed. But she talked about how she had a child who was an infant, probably 1 or 2 years old, maybe not infant, about 1 year old. And she had gone to the doctor, and her child had an ear infection, and the doctor gave her a prescription just for a simple antibiotic to treat the ear infection. And she went home that night, and she had a choice to make. As she filled the prescription, she wouldn't have enough money to pay for meals for the whole family. And so she made the painful decision of not filling the prescription and feeding her family for the whole week. And what happened to that child is that because of his untreated ear infection, he ended up losing his hearing and going deaf. And so I'm always reminded of that story. And that child now needs lots of different services to help him through. And that's something that could have been prevented. So it's very important that children have access to high-quality services. That's really important so that we don't have situations like that.
Thank you for your answer. Are you familiar with the 21st Century Cures bill that passed?
I am.
It's a great piece of legislation, and Senator Warner and I had one of the provisions in that bill, which is very important to us, on home health care. It provided for reimbursement for durable medical equipment under Part B, on home health care, on home infusion and home health care through Medicare. And something we want to make sure happens, because under the ACA, home health care was almost totally removed from being reimbursed. And having had personal experiences, I know home health care is the best environment to deliver health care services and the least cost to the government. I hope you'll look closely at that 21st Century Cures building and the home infusion provisions we put in it to see to it they get implemented.
I'd be happy to work with you, Senator, on that. And I agree, I think the Cures Act, and I applaud Congress for coming together on a bipartisan basis to pass that law, and I think it's going to have a tremendous impact on the health care of Americans, and I appreciate your efforts on that and would be happy to work with you.
And lastly, just real quickly, when I was in the state legislature years ago, the biggest thing we fought was a lot of fraud in Medicare and Medicaid, and that still is a problem today. I am very familiar with, from the business I was in, the verification of eligibility is very important to make sure you have minimal fraud and minimal waste. Are you committed to using the commercial resources that are available in the private sector to verify eligibility where that's important?
I am absolutely committed to that.
Thank you very much.